Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another episode review from Season 5 of The Loud House. Today's episode is titled, Ghosted. It's the first half-hour long episode of the season, and having been released in October, just in time for Halloween. First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. The episode begins in the evening with Lori practicing her golfing for the upcoming tournament at Fairway University. She worries about losing her scholarship if she doesn't win, but her troubles get worse when she begins to encounter some very spooky occurrences around campus, including a flying, glowing blue light. She believes she's being haunted by a ghost, and when she starts losing her mind, and her hair, she calls Lincoln and Clyde to come to Fairway with their ghost hunting equipment to send the ghost away so it doesn't interfere with her performance. The gang begins searching for evidence of the ghost, causing mayhem along the way, but eventually find and chase the spirit into the woods. They manage to get the ghost to leave, and all seems right with the world until the next day when Lori notices the rest of her golf team is not playing as well as they should. She then learns of a former student named Shanks Bogey, who was also a well-renowned caddy from the year 1900. After passing away, his spirit lived on through Fairway, and he's been considered a good luck charm that keeps the students from losing their ability to play golf. Lori needs Lincoln and Clyde to return to college to bring the ghost back, but since the boys can't help, Lucy and her friends from the Morticians Club come instead in the hopes of summoning Shanks. The club engages in a few rituals and peace offerings based on an old yearbook, but prove to be ineffective. Suddenly the group sees Shanks' spirit in a disco ball, and Lori decides to meet with the ghost at the cemetery near campus. She goes to Shanks' grave and asks him to return to Fairway. Through some subtle tips from the spirit, Lori manages to successfully play some golf around the cemetery, but it seems as if Shanks won't be returning. On the day of the tournament, Lori appears to be off her game, but when the ghostly spirit appears, she is able to sink her ball, capturing what seemed like an impossible win for Fairway, and she's allowed to stay on campus. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. Initially, I was turned off by the plot in the mini synopsis released prior to the airing of the episode. However, I later realized that if the episode Family Bonding taught me anything, it would be to not assume how predictable a storyline can be, and that this episode turned out to be a complete reversal of what viewers would have expected. We didn't get the standard, person is being haunted by an evil ghost and it needs to be eliminated for everything to go back to normal plot like most television series and movies have done in the past. This time we have a ghost lingering around campus, but it's not causing harm to others, and honestly, the episode we were given would have been much better the way it was, as opposed to what could have been the traditional ghost-busting story. Speaking of which, I enjoyed the pop culture references made in this episode. Lori saying, "Who you gonna call?" and sitting at the campus bar similar to that one scene from the movie The Shining, and wanting a drink named after professional golf legend Arnold Palmer. Another thing that really stood out was how Clyde was not falling head over heels for Lori with nosebleeds and passing out. I guess we can assume since he's not around her as much these days, he's learned to control himself a bit more. Well, either that or his feelings for that Chloe girl are easing his crush on Lincoln's sister, but that's beside the point. I got some laughs out of Boris inadvertently joining the cheer squad at Fairway, with Lucy hinting how he's probably not coming back to Royal Woods. We don't know if that's true or not, but we'll see. But even with all the good moments the episode had, including Lori's new hairstyle at the end, even if it just might be a wig for the time being, there were some things I found a bit confusing and not all that good. So now we come to my critiques. One of the first things I noticed was when Lori was in the library and at the bar on two separate occasions, she had an encounter with the ghost, but the librarian didn't seem to notice. Even the janitor was confused as to why the spilled drink suddenly disappeared. It makes you wonder, is it possible only certain people know of Shanks' spirit, or that only particular people who have a connection to the golf team can see this glowing blue light? It's never made clear who can see Shanks and who can't, but at the very least we can say the librarian and the janitor can't see him. Then how do we explain Lincoln and Clyde and the Morticians Club since they don't attend Fairway? Either because of their connection to Lori, or for the fact they believe in ghosts and he's only visible to those who believe in spirits. It's one of those little things you can't fully wrap your mind around, but it's not a bad thing in the long run. A very minor nitpick I found was something I didn't necessarily hate, but sort of annoyed me. There was a groundhog in several scenes, and it went from being innocent to darkly foreshadowing between appearances, and nothing really came of it. This animal didn't have any kind of connection to Shanks, or really anything having to do with the episode, except to maybe leave the audience in suspense of what this little creature could be up to. Either way, it just seemed like a waste. The last issue I had is one I cannot understand at all. It was mentioned in Act 1 that Shanks was offered a full-time gig as the college caddy after graduation in 1900, and judging by his face, he looked like a young student in his 20s. If that. But when Laurie went to his tombstone, it showed he was born in 1850. That would have made him 50 years old in 1900, and he certainly didn't look that way. Unless he's that physically fit, seeing how he can tangle with alligators and carry 6 golf bags without much effort, or has some kind of aging medical problem, there's no proper way of defending this plot hole in the character's age, even if his deceased spirit takes on the form of his younger self from 1900. I guess that's where the fans can come up with their own theories on this age timeline thing. It may seem silly to critique something as minor as this, but as I've said in previous reviews, a little consistency doesn't hurt. If it's anything like finding ghost goo on the golf course and never finding out what it really was, supposedly Shanks stepping on poop, some things are better left unsaid. So, it just is what it is. Overall, this episode turned out to be much better than I could have possibly imagined. Rather than chasing a bad ghost away for good, the real conflict was bringing a friendly ghost back for good. Laurie used to not believe in ghosts in the past, but not anymore, and now she has a new friend in the afterlife to keep her golf skills going strong. I can appreciate how this story took what first appeared to be stereotypical sports superstition and then turned it into something real. They could have easily went down the path of saying something like, "We don't need Shanks to help us win because our ability to play well is not tied to a ghost," or anything that would try to make Shanks feel insignificant to Fairway, and the students could win the tournament without him. While that direction makes sense, and I wouldn't have minded if they decided to go down that path, I looked at it from a different angle. It's clear Shanks is at this college for only these students, and whether he's helped them win or lose in past tournaments is up for debate, but the bigger picture is this. You can see him as a spiritual guide to bring you good luck for college level tournaments, but it's also important to craft your skills for the future because once you leave Fairway, Shanks is not going to be around to help you. Basically, you're on your own at that point, and if you fail on the professional circuit because you spent too much time relying on a college-occupying ghost to help you win, you're not going to make it very far. Laurie's team only started suffering because it was the first time Shanks was not on campus when a tournament was coming up, so it's understandable as to why Laurie felt guilty in chasing him away. Have other freshmen tried to do what Laurie did? It's possible, but then again, other freshmen may have been more upfront about their ghostly experiences to other students, and in this case, Laurie was very secretive about it since she didn't want to look crazy. Like that's even possible. So her friends didn't know she was looking at Shanks. Aside from the negatives I mentioned earlier, the episode made good use of all the main characters, and we were treated to a very unique story for Season 5. With that said, I give Ghosted a 9.2 out of 10. Well, folks, that concludes my review of Ghosted. It was one of the more interesting scary-themed episodes since Season 1, and it's already a contender for my top 10 best episodes of Season 5. Some may disagree with how good this episode is, but that's them, and this is me. So what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Happy Halloween! Yeah. Peace out, home slices.